9 years ago, I bought an acoustic guitar company with the goal of saving our world's forests. That may sound odd because building exquisite guitars uses tropical rainforest woods like ebony and mahogany and rosewood, cocobolo, ziricote. But I thought if I could set an example that others would follow, I could make a difference. For example, we immediately put in a policy of never using any clear-cut wood in any of our guitars. We set a policy of only individually harvesting trees when we needed to harvest them and doing everything we could to protect the forest community and neighborhood. And we made a policy that insisted that any mill that we worked with would have areas that would protect the wildlife, human habitat, and forest preservation. Now, the owner before me had no idea where the wood that he purchased came from. He would merely need some mahogany. He'd go to mahogany brokers. He'd get pictures. He'd get quotes. It never occurred to him to think about where did the tree grow? What impact might the harvest have had on the sustainability of our forests? Just like most consumers don't think about it when they buy a guitar. So I want to share with you a bit of my journey. One of my first trips, I went to Alaska. Sitka spruce is the top wood that's used in 65% of the acoustic guitars that are built. Beautiful, big, tall Sitka trees that live for 500 years and grow up to 300 feet tall. In an old-growth forest that have been here for tens of thousands of years. In fact, the Sitka trees that we use are almost all 500 years old or older. Now, when you think about that, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That was about 500 years ago, a little more. So the trees that we're using in our guitars were growing when Columbus first encountered America. What a lifetime those trees have grown. The sad thing that happened as I approached Prince of Wales Island, flying in a beaver plane, I looked down and I saw clear-cut forests. Can you imagine? These amazing forests that have been there for thousands and thousands of years, and humans come in and bulldoze that forest down. They completely devastate the entire community, the entire neighborhood, all the plant and animal wildlife as part of the ecosystem. The mud runs down into the inner passage, and the long-time existing salmon runs are polluted and affected. For $2 a guitar top. By me never using a live Sitka tree, only using salvaged Sitka wood, never cutting down a Sitka tree in that forest, I pay $2 a guitar top more than my competitors. For $2, we have a devastated forest. Sadly, almost all the other guitar companies in America still use clear-cut Sitka wood. Another trip I took was to Madagascar. Madagascar is an island that's off the east coast of Africa. It's separated some 80 million years or more from the continent. In fact, Madagascar is known for being the most diverse and unique ecosystem on our planet. Because of the separation from Africa so long ago, most of the plant and animal life that lives in Madagascar is unique to Madagascar. It was a very sad trip because I had purchased many, many sets of Madagascar rosewood. It's one of the most beautiful woods that Mother Nature has gifted us, and its sound quality, its tone quality is fantastic. But I had the paperwork that told me it had legally been harvested, legally been milled, and legally been shipped. but I wanted to go find out for myself. What I found as we went back up into the jungle was that we could not find one mature Madagascar rosewood tree still living. What did we find? We found piles of illegally harvested logs stashed away in various places. And the whole concept was to sneak them out at night, put them on containers, and ship them to China to make really expensive, beautiful luxury furniture. 50% of the forests in Madagascar have been decimated in the last 50 years. Why? Climate change, certainly, poverty, poor government policies, but mostly, if you make $1 a day income and you can illegally sneak up into the forest, cut down a Madagascar rosewood tree, haul it down to the ocean, that's more money than you're going to make in your entire lifetime. And so they've had an incentive to decimate the forest instead of to protect it. The result is that 50% of the diverse ecosystem in Madagascar is extinct. In fact, the famous lemur is being threatened because their food supply and their habitat is starting to go away. I made the decision right then and there that I would not use my tonewood sets. The last thing I wanted to do after visiting was to create demand for Madagascar rosewood. In fact, I have enough sets that at retail, if I had built them into guitars, they would have sold for over $500,000. And I said, no, we're not going to use them. I'm disappointed to report that there are still many companies in the United States that are building guitars of Madagascar rosewood. Back in February, I had a really special trip. I went to the Republic of Congo. Now, the Congo River Basin is the second largest tropical rainforest on our planet, after the Amazon, of course. And it is just lush and rich with amazing diversity. In fact, there must be millions and millions of species that live inside that forest. There, I was delighted to find that the mill we work with only harvests 2% of any tree species in a given area, and then they leave that area for 30 years before they come back. While I was there, I asked if I could go visit a forest that had been harvested 20 years before, and I couldn't notice really any human impact at all. It was lush and growing and amazing. They also have special zones to protect the wildlife. Because in this particular tropical forest, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, forest elephants live. And also, the native forest Africans live there, as they have for 3,000 years. So thankfully, the mill sets aside areas for the villages and large areas to protect all the wildlife. In fact, a recent study found that the gorilla population had actually increased to over 45,000 right there in the area that our mill exists. The chimpanzee population had increased to over 15,000, and the forest elephant population had increased to over 10,000. So it was fantastic to know that the little bit of African ebony and African mahogany that we use in our instruments is coming from a forest that I could be proud for how it's being managed. In my lifetime, the world population has doubled. Interestingly, though, the global or the worldwide gross domestic product, the amount of products that we consume, that we buy and consume, has increased 20-fold. We are rapidly consuming the resources on our planet Earth. And if we don't change our behavior, we're going to not leave this world for our grandchildren. My talk is focused on musicians. Because I know that musicians have a big voice. We listen to them, whether it's for romance or it's for hardship or it's for struggle or it's for causes. Yet, musicians don't ask the question, where did the wood grow in my guitar? How is it harvested? Is there any clear-cut wood in my guitar? Did this guitar help protect the sustainability of our forests? Or in fact, is it decimating the future? Just like most consumers don't ask. If consumers with any wood product, whether it's guitars or any wood product, if they would ask before they make a purchase, where did this wood grow? How is it harvested? Is it clear-cut? Is it making a difference to the sustainability of our planet? We collectively could turn around the devastation that's happening all around the world of our world's forests. And we could leave a livable planet for our grandchildren. Thank you.